Okay, it appears that I am live. Let's get my laptop in sync here. Good afternoon, you guys. All right. Let's see, people are coming on. All right, let's get this just right. All right. I hope you guys had a nice Easter and Passover. I'm glad that's over with, at least in my household. That was a big, big meal. Oh, and I'm glad it's over. Hey, Carol. Hi, Sunny. Hey, Sherry. All right. Are you guys seeing this okay and hearing it all right? I hope. My screen looks a little bit light. I don't know what the situation is with that, but hopefully you guys are seeing this okay. So today I'm going to do my little jingly ball earrings. I had a tough time deciding what to call them. The badness in me really wanted to name them really bad things, but I tried to keep it as clean as possible. But you know, it is what it is. So anyway, I appreciate you guys, the suggestions that I got from you guys. There were a few that I really would have liked to gone with, but I decided to keep it uh, clean. So for the most part, but that's not saying today that won't happen. So all right. Yeah, these are kind of fun. They're not rocket science for sure. It's just something I came up with kind of on the fly, and they may not be everybody's cup of tea. I don't know if they're going to get caught up in anybody's hair, if you have long hair or not. But I guess there's not a whole lot to invest in these. So, but they sure are cute. And using fine silver with them, uh, you can ball up the ends of the wire real nicely, as opposed to sterling. I've just never been able to ball sterling wire very well without getting all puckered. And you know, you know how that is having puckered balls. I guess maybe we shouldn't go there. But anyway, this is the project for today. Hey, Tammy. Okay. All right. So, I'm using 16 gauge round fine silver wire for the dangly bits and 14 gauge wire for the hoops on those. Yeah, Joanne, it starts. Here we go. Let me get my water opened up here. Okay. All right. So what I did was I want to say about 20 inches of 16 gauge fine silver wire. Uh, and I made these measurements up, so you can make them however you want. I decided after the fact, um, and the instructions are already written up, but I have I don't know, several different graduated sizes, and I started with 1 inch of wire, and that might be a little bit small. Um, it might be a little tedious or futzy to work with, but I'll stick with that. I'll try that. But if you find that 1 inch wire is too small to ball up and twist, you can certainly change uh, those measurements. I have other wires stuck to my wire. All right, so if you don't have supplies already purchased, if you're going to buy fine silver wire, I would at least get 2 feet for this project. You'll have a little excess, but you can always use little bits for making fine silver balls, little scraps, little things like that. So it's never really going to go to waste if you have a little bit too much. Hey, Debbie. Okay. Yep. Catch it on the replay. That's one nice thing about these lives is they're always saved and you can always watch them when you have time. So, all right. So what I'm going to do is I am going to cut. Well, let's just go over kind of what you need for this. I'm going to be using a miter vise and a flat file just to file the ends of my wires for the hoops, just for the hoops. The other ones I don't need it for. I have to gather my thoughts here because I get all over. My thoughts get ahead of me sometimes. So if you've been watching me for a while, you know what I'm talking about. All right, I'm going to move the camera down, and I'm just using a little micro torch for all of this with the fine silver. I find that if I use any uh, heavier duty torch, I usually annihilate uh, the silver. It just becomes a puddle of silver. So we're not going to do that. I have a quench cup. I have a pair of cross-lock tweezers that I'm going to hold onto the wire with. And then I'm going to cut some lengths of wire here for the little dangles. And all the instructions and all the materials and everything is going to be in the handout. So you don't have to take notes right now if you don't want to, because it'll all be there for you. All right. So I'm going to take some 16 gauge wire. I'm going to turn the camera down a bit. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing, and hopefully I'll stay in the frame. I will try to look at comments every now and then, and hopefully I will be in the frame. All right. Let's see here. So I'm just going to measure some little pieces of wire. Am I far enough in the frame? I don't think I can come over anymore. All right, so I'm going to cut myself a few pieces of 1 inch. And like I said, these are pretty darn small, but I like them. I think they're kind of cute. And I'm just measuring out 1 inch. I'm going to measure 4 of them. All right. All right, so I'm just going to cut off where I marked them. All right, so I had better move this bead mat out of my way, or I will probably set it on fire. All right, I've got my quench water here, and I'm going to set up my torch. Now, hopefully I won't, oh, we're getting some pixelation there. Yes, Suni, I'm using 16 gauge round fine silver wire. All right. And I'm going to ball up these 4 that I started here. Hopefully not starting anything on fire. I'm going to put my little 1-inch piece of wire into the crosslock tweezers. And I want to hold this wire right in the very tip of the blue cone of the fire here. And hopefully you can see it ball up. It's just getting ready to. There we go, starting to ball up now. Okay, you see it made a little ball right there. I'm just going to flip this over and do the other side. If you're not on that blue tip of the flame, it'll take a while for that to heat up or to ball up. Now, okay. Now here we go. You can make the ball as small or, well, I should say just barely balled up, or you could go for a little bit bigger ball. However, when you do that, you're shortening your wire. So I try to get a little, enough of a ball, but not too much. And if you try to get too much, sometimes those balls fall off. So you don't want that to happen. You want to be really careful uh, so that doesn't happen. So, but like I said, the bigger ball you make, the smaller your wire is. So that 1-inch wire becomes way smaller. So I'm going to do all 4 of these, and then we'll cut. Well, I'll just do 2 of them, and then I'll do the next size up. That's a little ball there. Turn that over. Ball there, and quench. All right. So I have these 2 little 1-inch pieces like that. Okay. All right. And now I'm going to cut, let's see here, the next size up. So the next one I'm going to make 1 1/4. Just cut 2 of those. Did I do 1 1/4? Yeah. I guess I'll just cut all of them now. All right, so those are the 1 1/4. Then we're going to do 1 1/2. And like I said, you can make them whatever length you want. If it doesn't make sense to you to do it this way, you can certainly do it a different way. And it doesn't matter if these are flush cut or not, because they're going to get balled on the end, so it really doesn't make any difference at all. Then the other piece is going to be 2 inches. That's going to be the center piece, the center dangle. Okay. All right, so I'll go ahead and ball these up. The if you don't have cross lock tweezers, uh, or if you don't have the ones that have the little wooden handles, the wood on the handle, that's kind of nice because um, it keeps you from getting hot. If you're doing this a lot, this metal will conduct the heat, and having that little wood on there for your fingers is kind of a nice heat-proof guard. If you haven't done this before, like making little balls for head pins or whatever, it's great fun. I could sit here all day and do this if I had an endless supply of wire, which I don't, but it's just kind of mesmerizing to watch that liquid or the silver kind of just ball up. And try to keep a good shape on the ball too. It seems like sometimes they can be a little bit oval instead of rounded. And I think it's just the way you're holding the wire into the flame. That one just wants to not be perfectly round. There we go. Obstinate. I should not have crossed in front of there. So don't yell at me. Kind of crossed my hand in front of the flame. I was aware what I was doing, but it would not take much to get sidetracked and burn yourself. So I don't normally hold it quite like this when I'm doing this uh, on my own, but I'm trying not to burn my phone. So I've got it rather close. Okay, that's one. And if your wire is not real straight at this point, it doesn't really matter. We'll get it straightened out. For these earrings, I like to keep them shiny. You could put liver sulfur on them to patina them if you wanted to, but I kind of like the shiny silver for these. That's up to you, whatever you want to do. But if I was going to do that, I would probably put the patina on before I do all the little twisting and stuff, just so it's easier to clean the excess patina off. That's entirely up to you. I just think they look kind of neat, shiny. Some things I like, a lot of things I like patina on, but usually more so the stuff that's got, like a pattern or something like that, where the patina really shows off the design. I think I'm right in the flame very well. There we go. And these tweezers kind of keep this, kind of make a heat sink, so it takes a little bit of the heat away. It takes a little longer for the wire to ball up. but it gets there. Go. One more. Then we'll make the hoops with the 14 gauge wire. We'll make the hoops from that. It is a gorgeous day today in the Chicagoland area. Um, it looks like we're going to have a great week also. It's been weird weather this year, this winter, and well, it's spring now, but I mean, the whole winter has been a strange one for us. It wasn't particularly snowy, which is fine by me, but I'm hoping that we get a nice stretch of decent weather for a change. We don't usually have a lot of high 60s and low 70s. It'll go right to the 80s and 90s. Ugh. Okay, so that's the little dangles for one pair of earrings. Let's see here. All right, so I have two little ones, two 1 inch, two 1 1/4, two 1 1/2, and one 2 inch uh, balled pins right now. All right, so I'm going to set those to the side, and then I'm going to make the 14 gauge rings. Hi, Kathleen. You're having good weather, Suni? Yeah, well, you guys always have good weather until about July and August. Then I'd say not so good. A little too hot. Okay. Now, where's the 14 gauge? This is it right here. All right, so here's 14 gauge fine silver wire. And for my hoops, here again, you can make them whatever size you want. They don't have to be the size that I'm making. This is just sort of a guideline, and you can do your own thing with it. But what I did for mine was I took about, let's say, 2 inches. I'm going to cut two 2 inch pieces for my hoops. And this I like to flush cut. So one side's going to be flush and the other one's going to have a little point, so we have to snip that off. All right, and this is where I use my miter vise, and I'm going to just make sure that these ends are nice and smooth so that I can fuse them without any problem. All right, so if you haven't used one of these before, they're really handy, really nice to use. There's this little, a little kind of like a little square area right here, and I push my wire right up against that, so that way it's lined up perfectly straight. So I look at it from the front and the back as long as it's right up against that wire. And then I take my, where is it? Oh, here it is. My flat file. This is a number 4, but you could use a number 2 as well. And just file against the top of that wire, and it makes it nice and flat. And I'm going to do that to the other side of that piece of wire, because no matter what kind of flush cutters you have, there's always a little bit of a point where the wire's cut, unless you're using a jeweler saw. If you're using a jeweler saw, that eliminates that issue. But if you're cutting your wire with wire cutters, there seems to always be a little bit of a nib on the top of the wire. And when you're trying to fuse the wire together, it's really important that your wire is flush so that it fuses together. If it isn't, a lot of times those two ends that are supposed to join, it seems more like they pull apart rather than fuse together if it's not flush, if the wires aren't flush. I don't know if I'm explaining that right or not, but hopefully you know what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm going to do the second wire here. Keep pushing it down. And just let the littlest bit through there. Tighten those little screws up. It doesn't take much filing because that little nib is small. All right. All right. All right. Okay, so I have those two wires nice and flush and ready to go. All right. Hey, Nancy. Hi, Dory. Okay. All right. So now I need to round these out to make a hoop. And I'm just going to use some half round pliers. And just kind of make a circle. Actually, I'm going to make more like a D shape. I find that they're easier to fuse rather than being perfectly rounded. And it doesn't matter right now if they're in the round shape or in a D shape. Because all I want to do right now is get these fused together. Okay. All right, so that's one. And this is the size that 2 inches is going to give you as far as a hoop size or circle, link, whatever you want to call it. After it's rounded out, you'll be able to tell it a little bit better. You want to make sure that they're perfectly closed, that there's no gap between them. And get my tweezers here. just going to circle around the wire with the flame, kind of go all the way around and heat it evenly. It doesn't take long at all to get this hot. See, I had some flux on my board, so my wires kind of picked that up. Now that was dangerously close to melt, but it seemed like it needed it, but it didn't melt, so that's good. All right, here's the other one. As it starts to get white, I know it's going to turn shiny and slick next. Right now it's coming. And I'll try to zero in on that area that needs to fuse. And sometimes I will turn it over just to make sure that I got it, because I'll be pounding on it, and if it wasn't fused all the way, it'll split open. But this is a dicey thing because it goes from just getting fused to melting if you're not super, super careful. And even if you are super, super careful, sometimes it happens anyway. Okay. And I'm going to be texturing these, so if they look a little bit gnarly, that's okay, because it's going to go away. Joanne, you do not need to flux fine silver. You do not need to use it. Works just fine without it. All right, so now I'm going to use my ring mandrel, and I will shape. I'll shape these little hoops with my ring mandrel and the chasing hammer. And because the ring mandrel is graduated, I hit it a little bit and then I turn it over and hit it, so that way it's not, so it's hit evenly all over. And if it gets a little distorted, that's okay, because we'll flatten that out. We'll flatten that out like so. Okay. All right. So that's one. This looks a little bit caca where it picked up. It picked up a little bit. I don't know if it was flux or just schmutz that was on my soldering board, but I'm going to file that off so it doesn't look weird. Okay. All right. So now we'll get the second one here. And I'm just shaping this up. I'm not really trying to stretch it out, although because it's fine silver, it will stretch a little bit when I'm pounding on it. So that can be a good thing and not a good thing. Just depends on what you're doing. You just want to make sure they're the same size, or yeah, or almost the same size, but really you want to try to get them to be the same size. All right, so because that's got that little bit of schmutzy stuff on it, I'm just going to take my little flex shafty tool and kind of get that off of there. But it doesn't need much. Not in this case anyway. And then once these are all put together, I'm going to put them in the tumbler and it will bring them up to a nice shine. You probably wouldn't have to do this if your soldering board was clean, which apparently mine was not. Okay, it didn't take much. All right, so now I'm going to just put some texture on here with, I love this little frets hammer. Um, it's an embossing hammer of some sort, I think. I'm not really, I don't even really know what it is. It's a texturing hammer, and this is the Frets 412. But there's a lot of knockoffs of these types of little texturing and embossing hammers. So if you don't have a Frets, you can get a different brand, and really they do pretty much the same thing. So I'm just going to do little lines with this little hammer. I love this little hammer for that. The little lines look so cool, in my opinion. So easy peasy. And I don't try to get all my lines lined up perfectly. They're kind of all over the place, but I still think it's a nice texture. And that way there's no stress making sure that they're perfectly even or symmetrical, whatever. Okay, so that's a nice little, hopefully you can see that, nice little texture on there. All right, so that's one. And if you're afraid of smashing your fingers while you're hammering, a lot of times I'll use like a popsicle stick, craft stick type of thing to hold on to the piece that I'm texturing, so that way I don't smash myself. I like this texture on rings as well, on little stack rings. I think it's a nice little texture. And this texture also would look great, with a patina, because, that liver of sulfur goes down into those recesses and looks nice. But it also looks nice, shiny as well. Okay, so I've got my two hoops. Oh, Dory says she likes to use an eraser on a pencil to hold stuff so she doesn't smash herself. That's a great idea. Never thought of that. All right. Okay. So now we'll move this back over here. And forgot to lay out a few of these jump rings. I'm mailing out the bulk of the kits today for those memory bracelet kits, in case you got one and wondering where the heck they are. I've just been pretty busy with a lot of different things, so they are coming out very shortly. Going to the post office tomorrow, I believe. Okay, now I'm going to use are my round nose pliers. Okay. For the round nose pliers, basically all I'm doing is putting uh, the balled pin, or the balled, well, I guess we'd call it a double balled head pin, whatever. And I'm just going to kind of make a U out of it. And then crisscross the wires like so. And these you need to futz a little bit with them just to get them straight. But you can make them more dangly by kind of playing around with the loop at the top. You know, you can either make the loop larger, or you can flare these ends out more. It's really, you know, whatever you want to do. The big one's the easiest one, and the smallest ones are the trickier ones, because they're little, itty bitty. Oh, that actually worked out pretty good. You see, I'm holding the round nose pliers to kind of keep the shape of the loop, but I'm really kind of forming them with my fingers. So that makes it a lot easier when they're small like this. And because it's fine silver wire, it doesn't require a ton of finger strength. But that's all I'm doing is crossing these over. And then when I put them in the tumbler, then the wire will harden up a little bit more. But just playing with them kind of does that too. Kind of hardens it a little bit. All right. Kathy's asking a great question. Could you enamel the balls? Short answer, no. However, I did try that, and I just thought that would be the cutest little thing, to have the little balls enameled. But maybe it's just me and my method, but trying to get these heated up and then dunked into the enamel powder and then back in the flame, I got enamel powder. I couldn't isolate it and keep it neatly on the balls. Um, and then, well, let me see if I still have my experiments close by. All right, this is probably a better way to explain this. I only have this one because I don't know if you can see close enough to this, but I had trouble. I got enamel all over everything, and I got some of the enamel on the ball and not all of it, but mostly I ended up getting enamel everywhere else, and it was just very uneven, and some of them just popped right off too, but this is the only one that's left surviving. But I thought it was going to be a really cute idea, just like you do, just like you're saying. um, I don't think the sterling silver would take the enamel the same way, Tammy. I think it's got to be fine silver. I could be wrong, but I think that it's got to be fine silver. And then I thought, um, the other part of me was thinking, oh, well, I'll do just little jump rings and dip those into the powder and see if I could make some little danglies with these things too. And the red all cracked off. That was a major fail. Um, Actually, they're all a fail. But I mean, I did try. I mean, the thought occurred to me that it would be a cute idea, but I couldn't pull it off. So if anybody else wants to try that and they are successful, uh, share it with us because I would like to know because it would be cute. It would be very cute. But that's how you learn how to do stuff is by experimenting. And I do a lot of experimenting. I truly do. Some things are successful and some things are just terrible. So I tend to share the stuff that works out and not really share that other stuff. But although I just did with those, I shared that with you. It was pretty much of a fail. Yeah, I think, Kathy, any of us that are doing this stuff long enough, we all kind of get basically the same kind of ideas. Um, like just trying to see what else you can come up with. But like I said, some things work and some things don't. All right. All right. And if these aren't perfect, I don't think it matters one bit. It just depends on how you feel about what you're doing. Now, the other thing when you are attaching these, you have to kind of go in between here. I don't know if you can see this, I hope. I'm kind of just slipping that hoop into the little dingly thing, the jingly ball. Hey, Deb. Glad you could join us. How are my balls going? It'd be more like, how are they hanging? I am so bad. I'm sure I'll be on the uh, lower level in hell. All right, so I'm going to put that one in the middle, the longest one, and then just put the other ones I'm sliding. It's not quite too simple to do this, but it's not really difficult. It's just you got to manhandle it a little bit to get that slipped in. You could probably just form them around the loop, but why make anything simple? That's my motto. All right. So I just am putting them in the graduated sizes. Oops. I don't think there's any right or wrong way. Deb, you're so funny. Deb and I had a lot of fun. We were talking about naming the this project, and we passed a lot of funny ones between us. Uh, Ones that we probably wouldn't share, but we got a good laugh out of it. So, and then Nicole Ritchie mentioned it yesterday. She just said silver fringe or something like that. And I thought, how absolutely perfect and simple that was. And I didn't even think of that. So my mind was in the gutter as usual. But it is kind of fringy, fringe-like. I don't know. I mean, this is all that I did with this particular project. There, you could probably expand upon it or do something a little bit differently and come up with a decent look. But this was just a kind of a I don't know. I just happened on it, and I thought, well, that would be good for a demo because I've done damn near everything already with these demos, and I want to keep doing stuff, but hopefully it's stuff that you'll find useful. Hey, Pat. I have to read what you said in just a minute. Stay on task here for a second. I could just open this up a bit. I guess that would make a little bit more sense, is just to pry these open just a little bit and slip them in. But why make it easier when it could be hard? All right. And then just kind of squeeze that together without marking your metal up like I just did. That's one other hazard with fine silver. It nicks up a little easier if you're not very careful. I need to cut these nails. My fingernails are never this long, and I guess from not doing much housework or much metalsmithing. I haven't really done hardly anything lately, so I really find it cumbersome to have them long this way. Oh, all right. So I will. Now these will tend to slip into the wrong places until you put your little jump rings on here, which will help hold them in place in the right orientation. So you should have 3 of each size on either side of the long one. And then I'm going to put on, because this is what I have, a 4mm jump ring and another 4mm jump ring on top of that. And then my ear wire. And then these would go in the tumbler. So that's one. You see how fast that was? It was like not long at all. You know, you just get your little parts all balled up and make your hoops, and then you can assemble it. I want to, I think, make the other earring as long as I've got time to do that. Let's see here, Pat. Let's go back to see. Okay, Pat says, hi everyone. It's gray, cold, and rainy here with occasional hail and thunder. Oh, that sounds awful. We've had a cold, wet winter, still waiting for spring in western Washington state. Okay. You'll catch the end a little later. Okay, you do that, Pat. I will talk to you. Yeah, I'm glad you said you were in Washington. I was wondering, where is it so crummy out? Um, Kathy says she has the hardest time coming up with names for pieces. Exactly. I do too, you know, and and this one was tough. This one was, most of the time it's not so bad, but this one was tough, in my opinion. It was just kind of weird. Deborah says, I like your demos because you simplify things and you're down to earth. No, it's because I'm simple. Thank you, though, Deb. Okay, cute and fast earrings. They are. They are. I'm going to do the other couple of pieces if you want to continue to watch me, or if you got the gist of it and you want to split, that's up to you. But I'm going to go ahead and finish up this last thing. And if you came in late and you didn't see how I did it, you can kind of check it out. All right, so I need, these are the 1-inch pieces. Yep, these are the two 1-inch pieces. Then I have 1 1 1/4, 1 1 1/2. I'm going to go ahead and finish these up. Camera over here. I grab my cross-lock tweezers. Make my little balls. If you have any questions or comments or anything, just let me know and I will get to them as soon as I'm done here. But I think these are kind of fun. I think these would make cute gifts too. You'd probably see them better with short hair than long, but you never know. I think I might need some more fuel. Maybe that. But like I said earlier, if you didn't catch it, I would order, if you don't have fine silver, I would probably order 2 feet um, as a minimum. You'll have a little extra, but actually, I think I used 20 inches for the pair of earrings. And then I used, I guess I used of the 14 gauge, I used 2 inches each hoop. So you wouldn't need too much of that either. But who buys 4 inches of wire? Not me. I'm always buying unbelievable amounts of wire. But I go through it pretty fast and I use it up pretty well. Although I think silver's kind of high right now. I haven't kept, usually I would check the price every day, but since I haven't needed any wire for a while, I haven't really stayed on top of that. But I have a feeling it's high because everything else is high. I know gas went up again, like by leaps and bounds in the last couple of days. Okay, so I have 2 of those, and I need, let's see here, I need a 1 1/4, and then I need a 1 1/2, and I need a 2. Okay, here they are. Put stuff out of my way. But honestly, they couldn't be simpler, as you saw. Yeah, like I was saying, Deb and I we had fun trying to name these. But in the end, I wimped out. This is 16 gauge uh, fine silver round wire for the dingle balls, for the dingle dangles, and 14 gauge wire, fine silver wire for the hoops. So I made this baked ham for Easter dinner Sunday, and it was way bigger than we needed, but oh well. Everybody likes ham, so I figured it'd get eaten up. So today I made ham salad, and I've got a big pot of split pea soup on the stove right now. And we had ham for dinner last night, and I asked Al if he wanted ham and eggs for supper tonight, and he's like, I don't want any more ham. So I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with all the extra ham. I gave a bunch of it away to my family when they were over, but apparently I have way too much still. All right. Hey, Marianne. Hi, Becky. Okay. Yeah, the silver prices or gas prices, Nicole? I mean, well, both actually. They're everything is ridiculous. The grocery store, going out to eat, everything is ridiculous. All right. So I've got my other pieces here. If you missed it before. Oh, I forgot to do the longest piece. Let's see. This and this, this and this, this and this. Okay, I didn't do the 2-inch piece. Just do that real quick. Okay. All right. So, love you, but hate split pea soup and ham and pickle sandwiches. I made our escarole soup. That sounds good. That sounds good. I I don't think I ever made ham salad before, but I was remembering having ham salad sandwiches in high school and loving them. And I don't know, it was awful salty. The ham itself didn't seem excessively salty, but God, that ham salad just, I mean, it's the same ham. I didn't add any salt to it or anything. Uh, it just seemed so salty to me. So I'm thinking, well, Al has to have a colonoscopy on Thursday, unfortunately. So tomorrow he can't eat it all. So I'm going to suggest maybe we go out tonight wherever he'd like to go for his last meal for a little while. I think that would be reasonable. And then he doesn't have to have ham again. All right, let's see. This one I made entirely, the loop is a little bit different. And like I've said before, you're wearing them on different ears. So if they're slightly different, I wouldn't freak out about it, but that's me. So I've always said if people come up to you and say, well, your earrings are crooked or one's longer than the other, I tell them, well, you're a little too close. You need to back off. Nobody ever does that anyway, though. At least I've never had that experience. All right, so we're moving right along here. I think, um, well, I'm not sure what I'm going to do next time. I was trying to source some Chinese crystal, um, little strands that I had bought at bead shows through the years that I cannot find. I've been doing all kinds of searches, Google searches and on Etsy and any place that I can think of, and I can't find these little crystal strands. They're little rondelles. They're not bicones, they're little rondelles. And that's what I used to make that crystal spiral bracelet that I wanted to do. But I also wanted to offer kits if anybody wanted to do that. But I may just do the project and not do kits because if I can't source them, that's not going to work. All right. All right, so I've got my little combo set up here. Yeah, it would have been nice if we could have enameled those little balls. That would have been kind of neat. You might be able to put some big seed beads or something on there before you ball it up. Maybe. That's an idea. Okay. All right. Sorry, I don't have any good stories to tell while I'm doing this stuff. I wish I did. I could use a laugh right now. I hope you guys don't mind me posting stupid stuff when I come across it on Facebook. I know it doesn't have anything to do with our group, but sometimes you just have to have a little giggle. And I just like to share that with you guys. All right. Hi, Susan. Am I not in the frame? Oh my God. Nothing like showing you what I'm doing. Guess I'm just too close. There, maybe that's better. Sorry. All right. The theory is to slide the hoop into these things, but it's a little tight. So if you open this up a little bit, and then you can slip them in. Debbie, can you see any better yet? I just dropped one on the floor, damn it. Okay, good. Ah! Okay, that's two on the floor. I have to stop in a minute and pick those up. How's the weather in Texas, Susan? I think Texas can be kind of a mixed bag, can't it? Or is it always hot everywhere? I don't know. I've never been. All right, I've got to pick up. Oh, and one of them is way far away. Hang on. Okay. Not hot today. That's good. Gorgeously blue skies. Nice. All right. Your little grandbaby's so cute. He is adorable. All right. I see Corey likes to take him for walks and stuff. I think that's awesome. He's got quality grandpa time. All right. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's the one I dropped. That sounds nice. We have a beautiful day. I don't know if I said that or not before, but it actually went from chilly to like hot today. So I'd like a little in between there, please. But I guess we get what we get. All right. All right, so these are assembled. And I just need to put my jump rings on here. I'm using 4mm jump rings. I've made sure that I have the graduated amount right, positioned right before I put my jump rings on, because they will, being that it's just circular like this, they'll uh, get out of alignment easily until you put these jump rings in. And there you go. All right. Okay. So that's the second pair that I've made. And I already have 2 people that want these. So that's great. But these are going to go into the tumbler now. And I'll probably leave them in there at least a good hour. Um, I could put them in the hone and highlight just for a different finish, but they won't be as shiny. So I think I'm just going to tumble them in regular shot, and then that'll be that. So anyway, yeah, they're pretty and they're pretty simple. And yeah, they're about as simple as you get, really. Um, but I will be putting the handout out real soon, because it's ready to go. And I can't think if there's anything else I need to tell you about this. It should all be in the handout. And yeah, it's got a nice little swing to them, you know, that they're kind of fun. Balls. Good old balls. All right. Oh, this is another project, maybe someday down the road, that I may do kits with if there's interest in these. This is a simple weave. These are with Super Duo beads, and then I just added a little fringe on here with Super Unos in the world of beads. But this is kind of a fun flat bracelet. If you like, I tend to like flat bracelets more than I like, roundy ones. If you're working at a desk or whatever, sometimes these flat ones are nice. They don't interfere, and this has like a little slide lock clasp on the ends of it. And I would probably do them in this color combination, and um, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But I'm trying to think of things for the future, of what I can present. And that's one of the things that I haven't done, you know, uh, in all this time, doing demos. So I'm just trying to find things that I haven't done that might be of interest to you. Not everything's going to appeal to everybody, but it just gives me a little bit more opportunity to keep doing some demos. So like I mentioned before, for all of you that ordered kits, they are going to be, the majority of them are going to be out, or the rest of, I should say the remainder of them are going to be mailed tomorrow. Um, and no, Jamie, it's not done on the loom. It's needle and thread. But once you do the first couple rows, it's just total repetition. It's very easy. Since you're a loom person, you shouldn't have any difficulty at all with something like that. The instructions will be pretty clear and concise. I've taught that bracelet many times, and everybody's always been able to get it done. So that should not be a problem. Yeah, okay. Well, I guess that's going to be it. Thank you for joining me today, and I will have the handout out in a few minutes. I don't think that there's any products that I use. Well, I might list a couple of products that I used on here in case you don't have them and need to get them. But that's about it. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye bye.